when it sold into the close. I thought that was, I didn't think that was how it should have gone. And so I thought, and to me, that I felt there was more to it, because a pattern such as that doesn't usually go that direction. It usually goes up.
Yeah. And see that, and to be quite honest with you, that's what happened. It just didn't happen until today.
Yeah.
Right. So in the after hours session, it just kind of held there after selling into the close. And then it actually made that exact move that you're talking about today. And that's the thing. So we blasted through 10 right after the open. We actually came back in and tried to test it. We didn't quite get there, but we got close. And right there, that should have been a tip off that, hey, this 10 level, this is important in both directions, right? It was important when we couldn't break over it on Friday. It was important this morning when we couldn't break beneath it.
Yeah, this was not an investment. This is all just technical trading. I wanted nothing to do with this stock after I trade it because of how, it's a small cap, or micro cap even, and it's got such low float. It's just too scary to hold.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Totally with you. And if I don't have an edge on that, if I don't have some type of angle on my thesis, I don't want to hold it overnight either. And so after we bounced, we tried to make a new high. We didn't. We came back in here. And when we broke down through the $10 level, we only stayed there. Let's see. We broke down through it around 130. We broke back through it at 255. We stayed beneath that $10 level for an entire 2.5 hours today. And you can see as soon as we popped above that 10 level, we started creating this flag that you were adding on, Joe. And I really like this because to me, these wicks are clearly telling me that $10 is the line in the sand, right? Add as this comes in. If it goes beneath 10, you're probably out. Now 970 stop, you're giving yourself a little bit more leeway. Absolutely love it. That helps not make the big mistake. And then as soon as it popped, you had the discipline, unlike what I had, to say, you know what, I'm going to take my gains and I'm going to move along and wait for the next trade. Here's
something on that candle where I got out. I had a limit order for 1150, and when it started, I mean, I probably should have just let it play out, but because of how choppy the market has been going into the close here, I didn't know what I was going to end up with, and so I just canceled the limit order and I just did a market and I got out at around 11. So that's where my exit was, and it was just because I just didn't know. It was so close to the end of the day, I didn't know what was going to happen. So
it became more important to you for you to be able to get your fill than to get that 1150 price, right?
Yeah, I'm fine with not getting all those gains. I'm just fine that I got what I wanted today.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, that's awesome. Hadid, you said that you traded eyes today too.
I traded on Friday also, and I did pretty good on Friday. I got out at $9. But today I traded eyes W. And I'm trying to understand
the warrants.
Eyes W. I'm trying to understand the warrant expiration. I looked up information on it, but I still don't. No, I still don't understand. What is the Eyes W warrant expiration? Do you know?
So this was. I don't understand this either. Just full disclosure here. Warrants are something that I've recently kind of been getting into because the price is generally lower than the stock itself. A couple of sessions ago, I tried to have Andy explain, and the group, not just Andy, but the rest of the group as well, explain how warrants actually work when it comes to.
I can explain that to you, actually.
Oh, he's back. Yes, Andy. All right, go ahead. Can you answer his question? Because I cannot.
Okay, so the warrant date says March 14, 2024. So you got to go into the SEC filing and see what the warrants are exercisable at. So my gut is, what are they trading at? $2.80 roughly?
Yeah.
Okay, so my gut is, every warrant will enable you to buy one share. Where's the stock trading at? 12 something?
The stock is at, hang on a sec. Sorry, the stock is about 12. The warrants just hit a HOD of 280. So here, let me go back.
My gut is the warrants are probably exercisable at 10, roughly. So if you usually when you add the stock price, you add the warrant to the exercise price, it usually equals close to the warrant to the actual stock price. So if the warrant's exercisable at 10, the warrants at, let's say, 280, that's $12.80 roughly. I don't know I haven't looked at what they're exercisable at. Given the time frame, since they're probably in the money at this point, the warrants are probably in the money, what they call in the money, because they're above, the stock's probably below the strike price of the warrant.
Mm-hmm.
So that each warrant will enable you to buy probably one share at $10. So the stock's at $12. So you can, a lot of guys arb it. They'll sell the common and buy the warrant. They'll buy the warrant and sell the common against it. I mean, there's a lot of trading strategies, but they get kind of confusing. So I don't know exactly what, the strike price is, but, and then there's sometimes they have call features where if the stock gets above a certain price, the company can call the warrants. So the warrants have an upside limitation to them. So they could call them, let's say the stock got up to 15, they're allowed to call the warrants if they trade above 15 for 30 days. So in that case, the warrants would have an upside limitation of $5 if they were exercisable at 10.
Gotcha.
I know it's kind of confusing, but you have to look at the call provisions on the warrants, the exercise price of the warrant, and and the time frame, the time value of it. So these expire 2024. So even if the stock, let's say, went back to, let's say, if the stock goes back, where would these start the day at? What price were they at when they started the day?
Though the stock itself or the warrant?
Yeah, both, because.
All right. So the stock today opened at 886.
And what was the warrant? What did the warrant start at?
And the warrants, what I should do is I should actually bring up a second one here so we can go back and forth. Here we go. All right. So your warrants today opened at 150 and closed at 209.
150, 209. I mean, I have to look to see where they're exercisable at. I mean, I have to go through the filing, but, or pull it up. I mean, if you just Google and go second site medical product warrant exercise call features or redemption, you'll probably it'll probably take you to the SEC file.
Okay. So I wanted to find it in Pro, but we don't know when it happened. So maybe this is, so what were you saying? You said Googling
Just
second.
Google and say, second eyes, warrant, second site warrant exercise price, maybe. And maybe that would give you the SEC filing of it. Holders, there it says, well, I don't know if that's second site. Yeah. So,
I don't know that this one is
Yeah, I couldn't find it earlier when I was looking. So so what are you trying to say? You're trying to say that the price of the warrant will continue to match the price of the stock?
well, it'll move in tandem with the stock until there's a call feature, which says the company can call it at
So what
that
happens
level.
when the company calls it?
Yeah, the company can call it if it trades above 30 days. If it trades above 15, they can call. They might be able to call it now. I don't know.
Here you go. I got it on the screen. So each warrant entitles the holder to purchase one share of common stock for $11.76 in cash.
Right.
To exercise your warrants, you must contact our transfer agent, VStock Transfer, and then the phone number.
Right.
The
And they're
warrants
23
expire on March 14th, 2024.
and $23.52 for 15 consecutive days. If it trades at that level, they can call them. So the warrants would have a max level probably of $12. I mean, obviously that'd be great, but they'll call them if they get above 23.50, especially a company like this, because that needs money. So,
Yeah.
So you'll never see those warrants above, $15. I mean, they're what are they, $3 now? So I don't know. I mean, but those are the call provisions. That's kind of what it entails. It tells you buy one share for a certain price, for up until March 14th of 2024. So, so that's why they had some intrinsic value. Even if the stock was at $5, they probably still have a little bit of value, even though there'd be $6, $7 out of the money. You know what I mean?
Because there's still 3 years for this.
Yeah, there's still 3 years. That's why people buy. I've made a lot of money over the years buying SPAC warrants at 25 cents. So, not, just because they have such long call, they just have such long durations. So I don't buy, I make a list of SPAC warrants, but I wouldn't buy them now at $2. So they all have a lot of premium in them. But if they take them all back to 25 cents, I'll start building a portfolio of 25-cent warrants. in
Yeah,
SPAC.
gotcha. So one of the people in the chat, Give Save Live, asking, can't you just sell a warrant for the straight gain though? Yeah, and Hadid, isn't that what you did, right? You were effectively just
I
flipping
actually-
this earlier.
This one I actually bought in today at $1.
Right. And then you sold it at what?
I haven't sold it yet.
Okay, so you're still holding it, right? But your intention is not to actually have these exercise.
No,
Instead,
I didn't
flip
understand
them for the
that.
gain.
I'm there for the gain, yes.
Yeah. And so this is, you're effectively trading warrants the exact way that I trade options, right? I think I've had one option in my entire life, exercise.
See, the warrants
And
right
that ended
now,
up being a mistake.
the warrant to me is priced too high now relative to the common. So because you can buy one share at $11.76 plus $3, you're paying $14.76 for the stock right now, basically. So the stock I could buy at $11.69. So if I was going to arb it, I would buy the common and short the warrant against it, type of scenario. You understand?
Yeah.
Because I'm getting, because if I add the price of the warrant plus the exercise price, that's $14.76. One share to buy one share of common, $11.76. $3 plus $11.76 is $14.76. I can buy the common at $11.67, short the warrant, and make $3 if I'm willing to. I won't do it, but if I was an arb guy, I would consider doing it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So so now Hadid, now getting your answer, what's your plan going forward?
Well, now he just got me scared.
No, but if the stock goes to 16 tomorrow, then the warrant's going to be worth, $5-6. So I don't want to persuade you one way or the other. I'm just telling you
I'm gonna hold till tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. I mean, if the stock opens at 16 tomorrow, if the stock opens at $9 tomorrow, that warrant's going to be worth, $2 again,
Now
Thanks for the explanation, Andy. That really makes sense. Now I got a better, clear picture of it. I didn't know anything about the warrant when I first jumped in. I heard it on Squad. I saw it moving, popping constant. I said, "Boop." I jumped in at $1.
No, it's good. You made money. I mean, it's good. I'm just trying to, that's how people, now these type of stocks that are super volatile, obviously the warrants have a lot of premium because like I said, it could open, this thing could be 16 and tomorrow morning, or it could be 8 tomorrow morning. If it's 8, the warrants are going to get slaughtered, because they'll still be $3 out of the money. So
now, Andy, one more question along this example while we're on the subject. Is there any correlation to, like, I noticed, like right now, for example, the stock, which is on the right side of the screen, is selling off fairly quickly, and the warrant's not even budging. In fact, it's still holding most of its gain. Is this normal? Do the warrants normally trade just slower than the actual stock just because there's less volume?
I mean, people,
Well, what's the availability? Like, there's a low float for eyes. What's the availability for the warrants?
What's the time frame?
No, I mean, like how many warrants? Yeah, how many warrants are available versus how many shares for commons?
It's the law of the cheaper. The way this market is with speculation and day traders is they like to buy the cheapest thing they can get their hands on. So
yes,
maybe they're buying that because it takes less capital, as opposed to buying the common, which you buy 1,000 shares, costs you almost 11,000. You buy 1,000 warrants, it costs you 3,000. So right or wrong, that's how it works.
Well, what I'm saying is the commons are selling off like they are because of the low float, and I'm wondering, is that the case with the warrants, or do they have a much larger amount of?
Well, the warrants in this kind of deal might be held by a lot fewer people. The guys that did the deal. If you went through the warrants, maybe the warrants are held by a couple of funds, that never really, that maybe they believe in it in longer term and they're just willing to hold them. They don't care. But
okay, so you got diamond hands on the left and paper hands on the right.
Yeah, you just don't know you don't know the composition of who owns the. Usually in thin names like this, the warrants are probably owned by the deal guys, and they'll sell the common and hold the warrant just in case the stock goes to 25 or 30 one day. Because it doesn't.
That's super helpful, actually.
Yeah,
I know
incredibly helpful.
Yeah, that will totally clarify more things. Thanks, Andy.
Okay, no worries.
Thank you, Andy. All right, awesome. Fergus was saying, nice explanation on warrants. Thank you very much for dropping the knowledge here. Really appreciate that. And I'm glad that you're here, because like I said, this is not a question that I can answer. So thank you for doing that. Hadid, I think I like the situation that you're in. I like the fact that the warrants don't really seem to be given up. I'm a huge proponent of waiting till the next day, seeing if things change. It didn't work for me. I hope that it works for you. So yeah, Andy, I don't know if you missed my spiel at the beginning, but if you can make SLGG go back up, please do it.
I told you, I know Ann really well. So
I know.
When I told everybody about that, I was like, I just know I mean, my friends financed that company from 35 cents. There was 3 guys out of West Palm, a woman out of West Palm, guy out of Texas. It was funded by some pretty good, but they owned it at 35 cents, and she's never been able to, to me, I knew too much about the company to have any interest in it, but it is what it is. It could have gone the other way, but
it didn't. And
I could just give you the fundamentals of my analysis and how much money that company goes through.
I was just making a joke.
No, it's like they go through a lot of capital. She spends a lot of money trying to, so it is what it is.
Well, hopefully they don't raise. Now that they've had a 20% haircut 2 days in a row, hopefully they don't raise. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Sebastian Moore wants to share. How
I was going to say, Sebastian, you have a trade that you want to share. Let's hear it.
Yeah. So on Friday, I saw Trade Desk was trading lower, and I think it had something to do with Google changing up the way they're going to monitor their users in order to do the specific marketing ads. And so I went and got a couple of long leap calls outside the money. And then I also got some shorter dated ones. I think the expiration was April 23rd. And I basically, Trade Desk got upgraded today. And so we had a spike, and I just unloaded all of it. The leap calls and the shorter dated ones on the spike. And I ended up doubling up the shorter dated ones, and the leap calls. I got like a $500-600 per contract. So it wasn't a bad trade.
Yeah, no, that actually sounds really awesome. Do you remember which contracts you ended up getting in?
So the shorter dated ones was April 23rd of this year, and the leaps were January 2023, and they were way outside the money. Like it's like over 1,000 was the strike price.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. So that's I normally don't trade calls that are that outside of the money, but good job. Good job on the trade. This is the definition, right? This thing sold off pretty hard for the first half of Friday. Pretty much all sellers really kind of found a bottom right around 560 and then ripped. In fact, it closed the day around 660. So we had almost 100-point move in the afternoon. Just a monster move. This would have been a real fun to trade. Options are quite pricey. So if you're trading these options, I'm glad that it worked out for you.
So TDD was one on my shopping list.
Yeah, how did it go? Did you get it? Welcome, David. Hope you had a good weekend.
Thanks. You too. Yeah, so I kind of set my level right there at that 560 based on, just the support there. So when it bounced off of that, I just got in but I got in for 100 shares at like 580 level.
Nice.
And wrote it up. I actually got out of it today too, because I was just playing the bounce on it. My feeling for the market overall is we're just on the solid downtrend, and I'm kind of waiting for it to settle down another leg.
That's what I thought today too.
Yeah,
that was the logic behind why I got rid of mine too.
So that was a nice trade you did there. I wish I thought about that. I was focused on just going long the shares.
David, so you said it, so it looks like it bounced almost off 560 exactly. It looks like the low was 561.02. So you didn't get filled at 560. You actually had to buy it when you saw it reverse.
Yeah, I wanted to see it reverse a little bit, and I kind of did to I wouldn't say that I'm drawing my Fibonacci's or anything like you are, but I'm going to start But I just put it to where the green candlestick was when it finally reversed back in November. So basically, I drew my bottom level at the 560, which was November the 2nd.
Yep, November 2nd.
And then when it had reversed, strongly there and had the, kind of 2 and then even day and then the big candle after that with the gap up. So anyway, I just kind of set my entry point around the 5, that was like 589. So I just put my entry at 580. And then today it was just kind of random too, where I was just like, it's had a nice pop. I think that it's going to exhaust. And I just got out in the, what was my trade at? Just above 700.
Okay, so first of all, to both of you, excellent job identifying this opportunity and then capitalizing on it. You guys both did it in 2 different ways too, right? David, you traded the common, Sebastian, you took options. Awesome, awesome job on by both of you. This is really cool, actually. This you bought it at right around 580. It looks like it's at 680, so it's still 100 points over where you bought it from, even though you were able to get out higher in the day there. Real good job. I like the thesis from start to finish, right? I'm with you guys. I'm not sure that the near term bottom is in. I want to be very, very careful about that because I'm certainly not bearish. And I don't think that, we're going to have some catastrophic collapse where we're going to have, bread lines and stuff like that. So I just want to be very, very, clear about what I'm saying. I think we're still going to see some volatility. I'm not sure if we're at a near-term bottom. We'll see what's going on. For this trade though, excellent job. I mean, in and out, 100+ points of movement, trading options, trading stock. I mean, that's awesome. This is what we do as traders. So
and just FYI, if anyone starts following this, I mean, my next level down on this is kind of in the, 500 and down to 420-ish, but I mean, the trade desk is a strong stock, so I don't know if it'll get down there, but that's when, if it gets down there, that's when I'm buy and hold again.
Yeah. So first of all, looking at the chart here, super strong support at 420. I would concur with that for sure. I would also, this is a stock that I would be tempted to add on if we did test this 420 level. And the thing is that if this continues to go against you, you can always get rid of it. You can even scale in. This to me really does seem like a pretty strong support. One of the things that I would probably do is if I were taking like a more longer term view with that, is I would probably just draw this fib level just a little bit different, just to incorporate some of those lows that we had from last year. Now, with that being said, obviously the fib line doesn't really align to the 420 support, but that's okay. I still think there's some heavy support at 420. And I would even say that 420 to 457 here, this entire area is going to end up proving as support if we do in fact test this downside, or if we continue to see more downside here.
Would you do me a favor real quick? Will you redraw your fib so I can see where you kind of started it from?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to like what we're talking about right now is more of like a long-term play. When it comes to a long-term play, I try to pick the low point on the chart and draw it to the high point on the chart. So with that in mind,
you started there. Okay.
Yep. The low point of the stick on March 19th of 2020, that low was 136. So that is the level that I'm effectively trying to get here. We'll see how close I actually get it. It doesn't have to be an exact science. These aren't people going into space. All right. So now again, I have a very, very similar read, right? 457 is that the upper end of that boundary here. The bounce that took place on Friday bounced almost directly off the 550. We had 560 as the level. The fib level gives us 556. That's really, really close. I mean,
I was showing my father-in-law, he's 89. His birthday was over the weekend, so I was showing him fibs, and he's a old farmer. So I was explaining to him how it's the laws of nature. are the fibs.
Yep.
Looking at how many leaves are on different plants and so forth.
That's why I use them. That's why I use them. You see these patterns repeat all the time in nature. And so,
and then they're self-fulfilling as well, because I imagine that's how the quants are setting their code.
yeah, that I don't know. That's a little bit above my
Andy, do you know anything about that?
For what, say again, for how
Whether the quants are setting their trading to the fibs.
if anybody knew that, they could be.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think they have their own levels of what they do. I mean, I think obviously a lot of stuff works off VWAPs for
Yep.
sure. But if you could figure them out, we'd all be billionaires, my friend. We'd all be billionaires. So
Well, let's keep that under our hat. It looks like we have a little something brewing here. So let's watch those fib levels and how some of these.
But you brought up a good industry, farming. I think that's a great industry. So
I have a. Oh, go ahead. After you're finished.
Yeah, no, I wanted to cut real quickly. We had a couple of people mention Peloton in chat as a trade, so I kind of wanted to go over that real quick here. Sebastian, did you have something you wanted to finish up on Trade Desk?
Oh, well, Peloton is literally my favorite company in the entire market. So I can definitely talk about Peloton if we want to switch gears.
All right, so let me go back. Timothy had mentioned. Timothy said Peloton was good to me today. So Timothy, if you're out there, you want to talk about the trade. I mean, I'm not. You looks like you could have played this in either direction today, depending on what you were doing. But if you want to go ahead and run through your trade, I'd love to hear about it, and then we'll have Sebastian talk about. Did you trade this today, Sebastian? I don't think this one was today. Anyway,
I didn't trade it. I'm long because, like I said, I love, and I can talk more about that after Tim goes. So I'm just long.
No, I think the connection is actually a little spotty as well, being outside. So anyway, Tim, if you want to go over this trade today, I'd be happy to. This company, like this is I got a love-hate with Peloton. We've talked about it before. I really want to get a stationary bike. I really like the equipment, but I really, really dislike the subscription that they require you. And I think that the stock price probably loves that subscription. As a user, I don't particularly care for that subscription. Much like the 420 level that we were just talking about in Trade Desk, the level here is actually pretty appealing, right? It looks like we've got some pretty good support right here. It actually might even come back in. Like let's talk about a support range here. I would say anywhere between 98 to 103. That $5 range right there is going to be some pretty good support, and we look like we're there. So we're down from highs of 170. So if this does actually hold here as a support and go back towards the highs, there's a pretty good trade to be had here. So this is definitely an interesting one. I wouldn't consider buying the bike. I would consider taking this for a trade. I'd love to take. I'd love to be able to capture some of this. I would probably trade this with options because this is a pretty hot stock. The options are pretty liquid as well. I'm pretty sure. Let me just check. Yeah, options are definitely liquid. This is one that I would definitely trade via options. So Tim, are you out there? I don't think so. We'll come back to you. If you do want to talk about it. Jack is asking if we take a look at AMD.
I have my line at 80 on that, by the way.
On which one?
On Peloton.
So so also some pretty good support, a little bit lower here.
I like Peloton, but I think that we're gonna pull back to there.
To 80, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, then, so I'm looking at a more near-term support area of 103 to 98. But I agree,
yeah.
if the sell-off continues, if growth continues to get hammered on yield headlines, we can absolutely keep going. I mean, even if you think about today, right? Let me take a look. Dow was up 306 points today, and Apple was down 4% today. When was the last time that you saw that? Apple down 4%, the Dow up 300 points. I mean, it's just that it's crazy, right? So some of these names here, as long as they continue to get slaughtered, we can absolutely go lower. I agree with you, David. I do think 80 is some pretty nice support here. I definitely think there is some support around this 100 level, but I agree. I think there's also some support at 80. Tim, I think that you're having an issue with your microphone. We'll see if we can get that worked out. Sebastian, did you have something you wanted to cover on Peloton before I move over to the next stock?
Yeah, I do. I love Peloton, the company. I used to be a personal trainer before COVID kind of basically completely demolished my company, and I lost all my clients. But the thing is pretty much all my clients who I lost, they've all bought the subscription to Peloton, and they do these boot camp classes that are very similar to what you would do at like a gym, like a boot camp or body conditioning. Some people, they call it different things. And they also have yoga and they have Pilates, but it's a big sense of community, and their groups on social media are growing exponentially. And so I'm long the stock because I see the upside more with the subscription, which is affordable and it has 80% margins. So I'm going to be in Peloton for a few years. I want to see how this plays out.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I was saying about me not actually liking the subscription price myself, but the stock price liking it. Subscription-based models, those are definitely good, especially those are definitely good stocks to own. One of the things that Apple's doing is converting more to that type of payment model, and I like that as an Apple stockholder. I would apply that same principle to Peloton. I will say this. I mean, we're doing this here. You guys are a part of it right now. We're huge on community. And I think that there's a lot that's going to be big on community. And I definitely think fitness for a while, has had community members that, people that like to run together. People that like to lift weights together. I'm sure it's the same. Sebastian, you probably know better than I am, being a former personal trainer. I'm sure it's the same for all these different disciplines. So anything that can tie a communal aspect into that, I like that too. And if what you're saying is that they're going to expand to more than just spin classes like yoga and Pilates and all of the other things that you named, I can absolutely see a next leg up, and I can see them building a pretty good brand recognition with where they started and then moving that to the next level. So I like that idea. That is the type of stuff that plays into a thesis for a longer term trade for me, whether it be an investment or a longer swing. So really, really like that stuff.
And somebody in the chat, David, he said to take a look at FRX, which is the company that's taken Beachbody public. And I have FRX. I have a very, 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 very small position compared to my Peloton position. I don't like the fact that Peloton is starting to get a lot of their market share in terms of the classes that they offer. Peloton has 400,000 more subscribers than Beachbody does. And Beachbody's been around for 20 years. And Peloton's only been around for, I think, 5 or 6. So I'm a little bit worried by that, but I do have a small space.
So not to get down this tangent unless anyone's interested, but the former Disney guy who was leading up the Disney Plus, who then left for TikTok, and then when TikTok blew up, he's kind of leading the charge on this FRX Beachbody deal.
What did they pay for that? What did they pay for that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's relatively so Sebastian and anybody else is interested. I mean, just from a valuation perspective, maybe a little more of a value play. They've got, they basically have Beachbody. I didn't look at this at first because going back years, if you're old enough to know the whole Beachbody thing, it's kind of cheesy where they have all that old infomercial stuff, but they've acquired all the old VHS type of exercise videos, and they say that 80% of their viewing is all that old content. So they don't have to create new content, and they're hugely monetizing all that old stuff. People still love it.
Is this like the 8-minute abs?
Yeah, 8-minute abs, Denise Austin, all that type of stuff.
Oh, Buns of Steel?
But yeah,
Oh.
I haven't looked at the whole library, but
Sure, runs the
but I
street
think
on
they
it,
own
Yeah.
that whole library. So besides that, just another kind of sidelight. So Sebastian, totally agree. Like Peloton's the high end. Peloton's the celebrity instructors, etc. But Beachbody's for everybody else. And so they also have the food. And so it's super interesting where you kind of have the play on, you know, the food, the Weight Watchers type stuff, all those guys, Beachbody's selling that stuff to their subscribers. And not just selling it, they've been doing it for a while. People buy that stuff.
You
They're
know,
gonna need a
one
pipe
thing-
to close that deal, I bet you.
What's
one
that?
thing-
They're gonna need a pipe to close that deal, Mike. I don't know. I have to see that deal, but I bet they're gonna need a pipe to close that. To get that deal closed. I bet there's too many redemptions in that deal. They'll need a pipe to close it. But I'd have to look at it closer. I'm sure they're
Well-
overpaying for it.
Yeah, that's-
On Beachbody, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they're overpaying. There's another one of these, GAIA, which is the yoga guy that trades in this space too.
Okay, let me pull that up. The one thing I will say, at least from my experience, is that things that are hot are going to end up having the momentum. So I'm not sure if 8-minute abs and buns of steel are going to take off. I know Peloton is hot right now.
Yeah, Peloton's way hotter.
What, Andy, what was that other ticker that you just?
I'm not in it, but GAIA, that's the yoga guy that has online yoga classes and stuff. Had a good day today.
And so
Okay.
is this
Well,
similar
it's the
to
social.
FRX?
This is the yoga guy that has yoga. This is the yoga company that has yoga videos and classes and sells yoga equipment. I don't know anything. I haven't looked at the numbers on it, but you guys are, if you mention a sector, I'll give you most of the names I know in the spaces that are, I call them the ugly sisters that trade in the same space.
So Andy, I am interested in your farming stuff if you want to shoot that.
Yeah, I'd be interested in
at
that
some
too.
point.
Yeah, farming I really like. I think
I like GIS. I like GIS and drone stuff in the space.
So,
Well,
so,
anything
so
that's-
real quick before we go to the farming space, Tim from chat, who doesn't have a mic, was also saying Gaia is big in the new age community. So something to take advantage or something to think about when you're actually planning that. Yep, exactly. What were the farming stocks that you were just giving me? I couldn't remember the ticker.
Oh no, sorry. Just as a categories of technology, just GIS. You know, just weather mapped areas and so forth. So
You're not talking about General Mills, right?
Not a ticker, just GIS.
Oh God, I'm
just in
sorry.
Geographical information systems.
Gotcha. Trying to follow along here, a little out of place.
But
So
I haven't looked at it closely recently, but if Andy has some stuff, I'm super interested.
you got some ideas for us, Andy? Let's hear them.
well, this is not an instant gratification stock, but I like BIOX, Bioceres, which I talked about a little bit. These guys are one of the leading crop genetic companies in the world based out of Argentina, which is probably one of the reasons it trades here. They do over 200 million in revenue, but I think this stock could be a double or triple this year at some point. Just have to be patient. The price of soybeans right now and wheat is going through the roof. So these guys have technology that improves the crop yield. So they're doing like 200 million so far in the soybean product, and they launched a wheat product which will get approval in Brazil probably really shortly. Start selling into the United States pretty soon. It improves crop yields by like 42%. I just think it's a huge theme. You just got to be patient. I don't know when it goes up, but it's not expensive. It's EBITDA positive. It trades at about 1.5 times revenue, so it's not super. I think the market cap's like 300 million. But this is a theme that I think a lot of technology involved in this, a lot of ag tech. So this is kind of my farming play for improving crop.
Andy,
improving crop yield.
are any of these plays still enticing to you if we do have like kind of a larger sell-off?
Yeah, I mean, this one held up pretty well today. I mean, it's thin. I mean, 86% is owned by insiders. So I think there's 30 million out, but there's like 6 million in the float. So this was a SPAC bought this in 2018 at a reasonable price. They paid like 450 million for it. And so they paid more than the stock's trading at back in 2018, and the company's doing way better now than when it first came out. So it's a real revenue company. So that's kind of one of my favorite crop ideas, farming type play. But there's others. I think the proliferation of food is going to be a really, really interesting thesis. With China has not as much farmland as they have people, so they need to improve their crop yields. So I think this is a huge, huge theme for the next 2 to 5 years.
So do you have anything in vertical farming?
In the vertical side, you could go with Agrify, AGFY, or Ugrow. Those are two guys that are like more on the pick and shovel side. So Agrify was a Roth deal. It's well financed now. So they raised money, I think, at 14 and maybe 10. So
and it looks like it's near some pretty good support, down from a high of almost double.
I traded that from like 10 to 20. So I'm not in it right now, but that's kind of a pick and shovel guy that does a lot of lighting and shelving for indoor farming guys.
Andy, what would it take? So if you've already traded the stock, what would it take for you to reload this? Is it something technical? Is it something fundamental?
I'd like to see a better market. Like I said, I didn't like the market between mid-February to the end of March. And then I agree with you. I'm not like super negative. I just think we're in the period now where everything is just kind of like, nobody's super excited to really put money to work at the moment.
So that was kind of what the reason I asked that is because Nicole was asking here about shopping lists, which is something that we talked about the past several sessions. We didn't have a happy hour on Friday, so we missed that opportunity. So that's kind of what I'm wondering. I like the ag tech angle. I'm just kind of wondering, like, are you actually waiting for the market to look more healthy? Is this a type of stock that you add on a sell-off?
If I buy, in a stock like Bioceres, I'll build maybe a 500,000 share position personally. So I will buy it I bought a little bit today. On weekdays, I buy them, like I've been buying NAII, which I really like. Right. That has humongous earnings and will continue to have humongous earnings. It's a space that I really like, and I talk to the management, and that has probably over $2 to $3 in earnings power this year alone. So I'm paying a 7 multiple for it with $5 in cash.
So in a situation like this, I guess especially with NAI,
it's illiquid and thin. The illiquidity right now is preventing me from really buying a lot of stuff. So
gotcha.
A lot of stuff's illiquid. So
gotcha.
Andy, isn't China a huge importer of soybeans, and wouldn't then that stock be doing well soon?
Yeah, for sure. China needs. Well, there's several catalysts in stocks like Bioceres. If they sell into China, the stock will double in one day, which I think is on the horizon, probably by May or June. So, when I buy a big position, I need a catalyst. It's just not earnings. I need a catalyst. I need some sort of way for me to get liquid, especially on a thin stock. So, I have both sides. I trade liquid stuff and I trade illiquid stuff. But the illiquid stuff, I need a catalyst. I absolutely need a catalyst to make my thesis work. And I don't buy something unless I think it'll double within a year. I just don't do it. Because the illiquidity makes, if I'm wrong, there's no way to get out. I'm going to take my lumps. So.
Yeah. So that's actually really helpful information too, right? So you're looking to put money at work when you think there's an opportunity for a double in a calendar year.
I look for strong balance sheets, companies that don't need to raise money. I don't need, when the market gets really tough. Well, the good thing about, and one of the reasons I agree with you, the market's not going to get killed so much, is a lot of these companies have raised money during the last, during all this hype. So there's a lot of companies that have a lot of cash to do stuff with now. So the ones that didn't raise money during this were stupid. You should have been raising money. You should have had some sort of reg, some sort of reg to raise money so you improve your balance sheet. So when the market gets tough, it's really hard to raise money, especially in illiquidity. So, but I've seen it time and time again. Managements are stupid,
Yeah.
You know.
Interesting. Okay. Well, all right. Well, let's keep coming back to this ag tech. I really like this. This is not something I normally have an angle in, but I'm started to watch these stocks, and so this is definitely an interesting point. Hadid, you bring up a really good point. And Andy, to say that the stock is going to double if China starts buying soybeans, or I think was what you outlined there. I mean, that's incredible. Those are the types of ideas that I want to discuss. I do actually want to kind of go back to the shopping list. We did kind of talk about that on Thursday. Didn't have a show on Friday, so I'm not sure if the selling is done. But I would say that if we do see some continued selling, as long as it's not panic run for the exits, I think that adding to strong companies or having strong companies or things that you're interested in that you'd be willing to buy in a down market is really important in terms of strategy. So we've talked quite a bit about stocks like Apple and Micron and some of and Netflix and Nvidia and some of the other growth names. So if you still have an affinity for those, like I'm going to be buying Apple on weakness. But there are other names that we can actually add to. And actually, David, you threw out a couple here. I'm going to throw out one before we actually move to these. Costco, definitely one of the names that I really like. I'm actually really glad to see this sell off because I think eventually we move higher in Costco. I'm a Costco member. I'm a huge proponent of Costco. It's like one of my main weekend activities. So I'm definitely biased to the long side on Costco, but this is one of those staples where if you can get this at a discount, I think that this is really good.
And Walmart I like too, actually.
Oh, say again?
Walmart I would look at.
Walmart, this is one that I trade fairly regularly.
Especially with people getting that stimulus check, because it's going to go into lower income people. So Walmart is right in that wheelhouse. I think that's not a terrible.
I didn't even think about that stimulus angle. Really good point. I think that also applies to Costco, frankly.
Yeah, both of those are probably.
These charts look the same.
I like the Walmart idea more for the couple Goldman Sachs guys going there to look at fintech stuff.
You mean they want to expand the capabilities within the stores?
Well, for fintech, my guess is they're going to launch banking.
Oh, Walmart. I see.
So
that's
you have
another
to
angle.
You have to remember Walmart is Sam's, right? So Sam's has the whole Costco angle, right?
Yep.
And every Sam's is a member, so they've done a really good job. Sam's Club. I mean, I've been a Costco member for years, so I love Costco. Way higher quality, but Sam's is easier for us to get in and out of. They just built a new one. Their self-checkout app rocks.
Yeah, see, I think that's kind of location specific because we have a Sam's around here and it's horrible.
And
I wouldn't even consider going back.
And then their Jet acquisition for Walmart, right? Put them on the map to go up against Amazon. They did a great job with that. So executing these new, the tech stuff. I'm confident that they can execute an acquisition and integration of fintech.
Cool. All
There's
right.
another cool thing about Walmart. They made a deal with Shopify. And Shopify is definitely a big. My last company I worked for, I was a Shopify developer, and so we worked with 1,000 other people. But Walmart has partnered with Shopify in order to, if you have a Shopify Plus account, you can sell your product on Walmart.com, and they will do the 2-day shipping with your product, house it, supply it, do all that stuff. And so that's a huge thing that's going to completely blow up Shopify and add Walmart and also make it almost.
Wait, you mean sell your old shit on Shopify? You can do that?
So yeah, if you have a Shopify Plus account, and it's not that expensive relatively, it's like $100 to a couple $100 a month.
Oh my God, eBay's
but
doomed.
you can sell your products on Walmart.com or Walmart Plus rather, and they will do the free 2-day shipping just like Amazon for you.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that. And to piggyback on the whole stimulus play, I think that in light of the winter storm that we just had, I know that there's been that Leslie pool play for all the people that had broken pipes. I also think that Home Depot and Lowe's would probably be of interest of people with stimulus money to do
Yeah,
some.
so that's all
home
the same
projects.
trade. All these are the
Yeah.
same trade. So
Yeah.
if you know, they're all gonna have the same charts. So pull them up, they'll all have the same charts pretty much.
Yeah, and the other thing to add to that, I know you were talking about the winter storm in Texas. You guys are not used to snow, and when you got it, you thought the world was ending. Yeah, the other thing is that the people that get snow all of the time, like one of the things that they deal with regularly is roof repair. And this winter was, especially up here, like right around Chicago where I'm at, there were a ton of houses that had gigantic ice dams that I'm sure are not being maintained properly. And as a result, you're gonna have a repair angle there. It's going to be very, very similar. So I agree. Lowe's, Home Depot, definitely good names to add to. I'd also in that area, I'd kind of add Visa to that. I really like Visa. I like other companies in terms of payments like Square and PayPal. We've talked about those. So I'm kind of going down companies that I would have on my shopping list if we did see a broader market sell-off. A lot of these companies are companies that you look at, that you can see and that you know about. I know I see, David, you're talking about Disneyland. Disney would be a company. Roku, one of the ones that you guys mentioned here. Let me pull up a chart for Roku. There a lot of these companies here, I think, would be really good ads if there is kind of a broader sell-off. Now, Disney, I'd like to see that come back in a little bit more towards that 180 and 160 support. Roku, I think you can take a stab right here. Again, the same thing is true here. These growth names, as long as we continue to get some of these, bad headlines about the 10-year and all that stuff, we could see these continue to get hacked around. But looking at the chart here, trading this against 320, I don't think there's really anything wrong with that. This would definitely be a name I'd like to add. Nvidia, I'd throw on that list as well. So yeah, I would say that there's a lot of these stocks. So what do we have? So let's just recap what we have so far. You guys have mentioned Walmart, which I think is a great name. Costco. We had Roku, Home Depot, Lowe's, Disney. So there's 6 really good names right there, and that's excluding things that you might already know about, like Apple. Oh, Visa, we mentioned to that. PayPal, Square, as far as like that tech angle and like the payment, one of the things that David was talking about, which I really, really like. I think that if you're going to find your way into that space, there's going to be room for you. You
need to see a little bit of rotation out of banks.
Say again, Andy?
You need to just see a little bit of rotation back out of financials and out of energy a little bit. You need those. It's kind of like a contra trade. So banks and energy go up, tech goes down. So you need to see a little bit of profit taking on the energy and financial side, I think. And then
interesting. When you say you're looking for that, do you watch individual names? Do you watch ETFs?
Yeah, no, I do. When I look at the ETFs, like the energy ETF's been on fire. The financial ETFs have been on fire. You need to see a little bit of that kind of coming off a little bit. If you look at the FAS, that's been on fire, which is the 3X bank ETF, which attracts a lot of money. That's been straight up recently. So those I think are starting to get extended. I think banks and energy are getting a little extended. I almost was going to short those at the close today, but I didn't. I almost was starting to think about shorting energy at the close, but it's
so is this just technical? What level is it that would make it compelling short for you?
Well, look at ERY is one. That's the bear energy one. Yeah, that's like a 2. I mean, that thing is straight down. So that one is interesting. It's starting to interest me. I took a little bit of that at the close at like 16 something or other, but the problem with energy is so under-owned still that I'm fighting uphill. So I will slowly start scaling into that a little bit,
Interesting.
I think oil's coming, oil I think is maxed out at around 65. So we'll see what happens. And look at the chart on stuff like Viacom lately. VIAC is another one. Look at that thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, David had mentioned this one earlier.
So after I mentioned it to the group, I don't know if it was a day or two later, but I picked it up in a little over 71. So I don't know why it popped today, but I was happy to take it. I'm still in it.
I shorted that at the close a little bit, very small amount of that.
Oh, thanks.
We have a Why Is It Moving that's saying that one of the reasons was Oprah and Meghan and Harry. That
Yeah, that's just stupid.
Oh, no.
I just think it's extended, you know, when a stock moves that much with that kind of market cap.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think too, but I think it's going higher. I mean, the thing on Viacom, if anyone's interested, is they're basically saying that Paramount Plus is worth equal to all their other current assets. So you're getting either all the current assets for free, and then you've got more room to run on the Paramount Plus.
It's not a super expensive stock. So
No.
from a fundamental standpoint, but
Right.
it's also up from $12.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So
No,
I think,
to me, just with my gut, this tells me that I would be trying to play the mean reversion too. Not because I'd bet against the company and what they're doing. It's just,
it's just
look how fast this has moved up.
Yeah, I give it a couple. I mean, I'm talking about a very small short. It's most likely I'm not a short guy, so most likely I will lose money on this trade. But it just threw me and go, okay, I got to short a little bit of this just to keep the market honest, you know. So
to keep the market honest.
And on the oils, just a breather here, but there's more room to run on the oils for part of what Andy's saying. And you know, when it popped on the Saudi Arabia news to 70 WTI 70 overnight, but then pulled back to 65. I didn't see what it closed at, but you know, that wasn't good for just short-term oil that it, you know, popped and pulled back so much. You know, there was excitement over potential crisis, but it pulled that back
but
pretty
you need
quick.
those sectors to come in a little bit for tech to come to make a little bit of a bottom. So you know, like it's a reversion. There's $100 chasing, you know, 10 different names. Now $8 are chasing financials and energy, and $2 chasing tech. You need that to revert back to where it's 5 and 5 or 6 and 4. So we'll see. I mean, I think they'll come back. They always come back to tech. They may wait till the earnings come out April 15th for tech. Mm-hmm. My rationale is usually they either sell off tech before earnings come out or they buy tech before earnings come out. And this time it seems like they're selling off tech before they release in mid-April. So you know, that's how it works since I've been doing this.
So I really appreciate the insight. We are over here, so we're gonna go ahead and cut it here. Please, everyone, join us tomorrow. Let's continue along that theme of shopping list names. Nicole, I'm not sure if we got enough of those names. We were able to get you like 7, 8, or 9 of them today, but let's think about some other strong companies that you'd like to add or if the market starts to go to the downside. I really like the ag tech angle, so I think we're going to keep talking about that. But yeah, thanks very much. Really appreciate everyone's contribution. So good to see all of you here. I hope to see all of you back tomorrow and have a whole bunch of really awesome trades to go through. I promise tomorrow I will bring a drink. I think I heard someone earlier cracking a beer. It was like, it was such a great sound. I was like, that was perfect. So tomorrow I will join you. I really appreciate it. Everyone, until next time, happy trading. Brian, remember, you will have to